Hello, Vermonters. Uh, Thanks for joining me as we discuss what I think is a really important issue as we go forward in our country and for our state, which is integrity. Integrity in the leaders who claim that they're worthy to represent us and have our best interests in mind. And in particular, I would like to discuss Representative Peter Welch, who for 16 years has been in the US Congress demonstrating that he is really out of touch with the rest of us. Now, in the Wall Street debacle, where Vermonters suffered horribly, in fact, it took 20 years for most Vermonters, for Vermonters pretty much everywhere outside of Chittenden, to regain the same value of their real estate as they had before that crisis. Well, during that crisis, and while he was on committees relating to banking laws, Peter Welch was invested in Wall Street stocks. And then later, when Vermont suffered, along with many states in this country, in an opioid crisis in which drugs were being really freely distributed through the system of pharmaceutical industry and our pharmacies, he stood in the way of laws that would have helped restrict that. These drugs were represented as being non-addictive, but as we know, Oxycontin and others were actually the opposite. And he was invested in stocks that benefited or that were related to that industry, including Rite Aid and others, and who had an influence or a desired outcome in the legislation that he was making decisions about. And now, lo and behold, it has happened again, as reported by Vermont Digger, that in the COVID crisis, the day after he made an announcement about COVID and was privy to information the rest of us didn't have, he made a purchase of stock in a company in England that would benefit from the COVID crisis. But he said he didn't know who made that investment, or that investment was made, because his investors buy stocks for him without him knowing. All three times he's claimed ignorance. All three times he said he's never even talked to his investigators about whether he should maybe stay out of certain stocks or out of his investment advisors. And so what I'm asking Americans is, do you buy that? Most of us don't own stocks, and if we did, we wouldn't have other people buying them for us. It's very not credible. How about Peter Welch would support laws that say no legislators should have interest in stocks while they're in office? He won't. Now he said he'll think about it. It's too late. And this is the great elephant in the living room for the hypocrisy of the Vermont Democratic Party. You have an old, white, multi-term man, multi-millionaire, who's not originally from Vermont, who came here to exploit us in our state, now says he represents our interests in this election. Why do you trust someone who's proven that they're dishonest and unethical? This is a grotesque appearance of conflict, even if it is not actual fraud and corruption, which is what it really looks like. So why would anybody vote for Peter Welch in 2022? Oh, the Democrats will, because he has a D on his name. No matter how destructive it is to Vermonters and to the rule of law, into allowing corporate predators on Wall Street and in pharmaceutical industries, both for chemicals and then vaccines or whatever, to profit together like a big buddy old boy network. That's what the Democrats are. The elitists who pretend to be there for the poor while they make them poorer and poorer. And Peter Welch is the poster boy of that. So we thank the Democrats for showing all Vermonters the hypocrisy and the absolute dishonesty of what they have become, while they call conservatives these horrible things that everybody knows we're not. Nothing is sweeter than Vermont liberty. Thanks for listening and finding out the truth. Read up on the articles and ask why they're not telling you more of the truth about this and other violations. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.